today we have AMD. We're going to be doing a major back test compared to buy and hold. This is one you're going to want to watch. We're going to be looking at the long only and the long and short. So the first thing we're going to do is get right into it, and we're going to superimpose our long uptrend signals that you can simply get by setting an alert right here on TradingView. And all you have to do is go to happytrader.io to get involved with what we're doing. But we're going to be comparing our cream of the crop, our 2 years in development, up against just buy and hold, simple buy and hold of AMD. So the first thing we're going to do is enable that long only strategy. We want to make sure that our up arrows for the back tester and our down arrows for the back tester are both in line with our uptrend and downtrend signals, which they are precisely. So the next thing we're going to do is make sure that deep back testing is enabled. That's going to give us our timing and our time slots for our time range for how long we want to back test for. We're going to do from 2010 to 2024, and we're actually going to set this to the current date. Let's hop up. It is January 22nd, 2024, so we're going to make sure we get a full back test. Now for parameters, let's just, for the fun of it, let's say you had a windfall of like 100K, you just threw it all in there. So we're going to do percent of equity, right? 100% of equity. And for pyramiding, we're not going to do any successive orders in one single direction. So if we were to get two downtrend signals or two uptrend signals, we're not doing that. We're just going from one to the other. We're going to generate the report, and we're going to see what it looks like. You can see that these uptrend and downtrend signals, they get pretty crazy as far as the stock size as the account continues to grow. But what's cool is that we're not even using derivatives or options or anything of that nature. We're not using any type of leverage. This is just stock, right? So this is super impressive. Even on the 15-minute chart, you can see gains of 3,440% from January 1st, 2010 to January 22nd, 2024, which is today. And you can see that it's just some really interesting metrics. The fact that there were only 807 closed trades in that whole period makes it seem AMD is probably a pretty easy stock to trade. It just rolls with the trends and it's pretty smooth. Another thing that stands out is this big dip right here. So we're going to have to look into some of the performance summary. Now, 33% profitable, that would indicate probably a lower volatility stock. AMD does tend to move more sideways than a stock like Nvidia, something like that. But if we overlay the buy and hold equity, that's where you can really see the difference in the happy trader signals versus buy and hold, which buy and hold is going to be this down here. And you can see that we have just handily outperformed that. Now, if we go down to the 5-minute chart, it gets even crazier. You can see the amount of trades goes drastically up, and you can see the size of those trades because we're using 100% of our equities. We're not leveraging, but we are scaling in share size as the account grows, right? So you have to keep that in mind. And from 2010 to 2024, that's pretty good stuff, right? So look here, 6,000%. Not too shabby for 2010 to 2024. You can see buy and hold just cannot keep up with our signals, and these signals are so reliable. And when you get a big runner signal, it's just game over. You can just set the alerts right up here. If you're new to the channel, you just go to add alert, and then you set your alerts for your downtrend and your uptrend signals, and they just beep on your phone or your computer or whatever you're trading on. But if we stretch this out, you can really see how we're dwarfing just the buy and hold. We'll stick on the 5-minute chart. You can see obviously a big net profit, but as a quant, we want to dive into some of these metrics. So percent profitable, 1 out of 3 trades, 29.28%. Average trade expectancy over all of these 2,400 trades for all of this time period from 2010 was $2,484, and the average amount of those 5-minute bars in trade 58. So it gets more manageable obviously when you move out, but you can see when you move out in time frame, our signals are still outperforming, but you're just going to get a little less because you're doing a little less, right? So you're going to get like a $1.8 million drawdown on like a $3.4 million investment. Now, the cool thing, if any of y'all are quants, you can go in and you can set notifications for webhooks. So if you wanted to set up some sort of automated trading system using our alerts, you can absolutely do that because, hey, that's one of the reasons why we developed and designed on TradingView is for that very reason. Let's go back to the 5-minute chart because the results there are just pretty uncanny. I'd like to dive into that a little bit, and we'll wait for that to populate. and it did. So if we go to the performance summary, you can see like net profit looks good. You're just going to get the difference between your gross and gross loss, max run up, max drawdown. So you have all of your stats here. The one thing that stands out is just this 29%. But if you go to the list of trades, you can just see the winners are just crazy outperforming the losers, right? So that's where you're getting 130K on this trade and maybe a 5K loser, a 39K loser, etc. Now, the cool thing about using Happy Traders, like if you're thinking, oh, I don't have 100K, you could have used 10K and done the same back test, the same trades, and then let's see what happens. So let's go to, you can see a lot smaller of a size. You can see with the wins, the white trades, these compared to the red trades are just larger. So even though you only have this 29%, so about 1 out of 3 trades won, you still have that same positive expectancy graph. And if you drag it up, you can just see it just crazy different when you're using Happy Trader compared to when you're just buying and holding. Plus, the other thing I have to mention about Happy Trader is that you're in and out of the market. You really don't have to buy and hold in the traditional sense, like putting a ton of stock on and then waiting and then maybe having a black swan event. Now, this becomes even better when you are dealing with derivatives like options and such, because you can control a heavy amount of stock for barely anything. So if you're using our signals with, let's say, options or futures, or if you look at some of our other backtesting videos on the derivatives, we do way better. But as far as single stock, AMD is really nice. I really like the profile of it. I love the percentage. You're only getting back maybe 11 on the S&P 500, 7 to 11% on the S&P. So that's what you're dealing with there. And then if we just take this back to the 100K that we were dealing with in the beginning, we will utilize 100% of that equity and just go back to our original back test. You can see it's just crazy. The trick is really win rate is not everything. A lot of times when you have a win rate that's 97, 98, you can subscribe to see some other back tests that demonstrate this. But what happens is the higher percent profitable, when you do lose a trade, the drawdown's severe. So way worse than even this drawdown, which was big. This was a 54% drawdown. Pretty big deal here. Just absolutely pummeling buy and hold using our signals. That's where it is at. We are where it's at as far as just simple uptrend and downtrend signals that just flat out work in back testing. We can look at the long and the short before we end the video. Let's go ahead and just pull up our 5-minute time frame, our AMD. We're going to go ahead and generate the report. See what we come up with for long and short. Okay, so pretty interesting. So we're still crushing buy and hold. The difference with the long and the short is that you have a lot more chop, a lot more volatility. You also have a lot more trades because you're trading in both directions. So that's going to be something of note. You are going to end up with less of a percentage there, and you're really just squeaking by with a max drawdown. So again, this is Ryan, the CEO and head quant here at Happy Trader. You can subscribe at happytrader.io. You can also learn more just by subscribing to our channel and kind of finding what we're all about, seeing what we're all about. And you can see that the AMD chart is just off the charts. We'll go ahead and remove our back test so we can just see our indicator in its full glory. And you can see this beautiful current uptrend signal for 2024. I hope you enjoyed this back test as much as I did. This stuff is so fun to geek out on. I just really appreciate all of your viewership, and hopefully this is helping you become a better trader. Again, this is Ryan, CEO and head quant at happytrader.io. Have a great day. Good luck and happy trading.